Well, hello, welcome to my attempt to use a video to teach about videos. We'll see if this works, but I wanted to go through some tips that I've come up with. I was going to call this best practices, and I realized I have no idea what the best practices are. These are my practices, things that I've learned, mistakes I've made, and trying to get people to think through some of those mistakes before they make them too. Maybe you want to look up and see if other people, hey, there's one of them right there. There's one of the mistakes. Okay. Um, so we're just going to push along because that might work out. So, one of the first things you want to think about is screen versus teacher. And I don't mean actually, do you think that it's better to teach off a video or to be in person? Because, well, I don't think there's much debate there. But the screen is not where you want to be, but sometimes you have to be. Or you want to make things available offline, asynchronously when you're not in person. So here we are wanting to do that and make a video. But what I mean by screen versus teacher actually is, are you more comfortable doing what I'm doing right now, which is showing people a PowerPoint or some sort of slideshow on the computer screen? In my classes, since I teach technology, I am often typing, showing them how to use the technology. So screenshots work better for me, screen capture technology, versus actually setting up your computer inside a classroom in front of a whiteboard and giving a lecture to the computer as your audience and recording that. This is the way I like to do it. You could do it, either way. Sometimes it's good to see somebody and going through stuff, but I'm much more comfortable this way, so I don't have to actually see myself. It's bad enough to listen to myself, but that's just me. You might have a different take, but you want to think through which one you'd be more comfortable with. The next thing you want to decide is, can you handle type talking? See, I can't. Um, Talking freeform, or would you rather set a script up and read from a script, or at least have some, good notes taken so that you can make sure you stay on point and say what you want to say? I'm more of a freeform person. I'm freeform in my class, and that's how I find it's more natural for me to do this. But that being said, sometimes I have to screw up and do it over again and over until I get it something that's more right. So maybe if I wrote a script, that would happen less often. Um, and you can probably tell already I've made plenty of mistakes this time, so do I want to go back and do it again? See, at some point, once you've been recording for, 5 minutes, you don't want to stop. You want to keep going even though you know you could do a better job. So maybe a script is better because you will have less of those situations. This time I'm making mistakes on purpose, though, so I can talk about them. So don't worry. The next thing to think about is your recording environment. And what I mean by that is some issues about quality. Um, First of all, there's like, where do you record so that you can actually be in a quiet environment so that if somebody walked in and started talking, it wouldn't pick up on your microphone. If you're at home trying to do this, do you have a spot you can go that doesn't involve screaming kids fighting or wanting to get attention of mom or dad, pets that want to come up and suddenly need, to meow right in your face, and there you go. Um, at school, trying to find a quiet classroom that you can be in. These things are tricky, and you're never exactly sure. Another issue about quality is the kind of microphone you decide to use. And I forget if I was going to talk about that one. Yeah, there we go. Um, so other kinds of in recording environments are the actual kind of recording environment you decide to use around you on the computer screen. There's two things that you want to think about. First of all, there's the fact that you're on a computer screen. And I say that because, I move my mouse around, you're seeing that I'm moving my mouse around and these things pop up. I had before, I have no idea why Google Calendar decided to put a notification in front of my screen. because that was weird. But I have been recording things before where suddenly I have an appointment coming up and the appointment shows up at the top, and students sure love to see those things on your screen. They think it's funny, but how professional do you want to be, or how much do you want them to see the things that are coming up in your Google Calendar? So you just want to check and look around your computer to see what else is running and what might happen in the middle of your recordings. The last point I've been meaning to make here for the last couple of minutes is about your microphone. I used to record just right from the computer screen, right from the computer. But every time I move the computer around, I'm going to move the computer around right now. Can you hear anything? Hopefully, this is not scratching in your ear, but it used to. So if I shifted my computer a little bit while recording, then suddenly there was a bunch of scratching sounds. Hey, there's one again. I have no idea what's doing that. That's great. Um, those don't come up normally, so this is fun. Um, and then the other issue is, well, then I went to a mic over my head, a nice headset mic. There's really fancy mics you can buy. It's, of course, how much money do you want to spend on getting a microphone that sets you up? Um, and so those are things you want to think about. The idea here is now I have a mic by my face. I can move my computer around. Hopefully that worked a bit better. But if I was to start playing with the mic on my face and like messing around, so watch your ears for a minute because this might pop into your ears. But that's me just tapping on my headset. Am I creating a bunch of noises for you to hear? And that could be annoying. I've definitely blown a few students' ears out by accident with some mistakes I've made. So you want to watch for those kinds of things. So that's the recording kind of quality that you want to think about. All right, so now you're ready to get started. I have a few thoughts on setting the stage. The first one is more of a technology thing, which is, I'm going to exit out of this for a minute. But again, I'm on a computer. This right here is my QuickTime environment that I'm in. And when I go to make a new screen recording, or even, a movie if I wanted to record myself, when I hit the record button, I then have a few seconds to actually get back to what it is I want to do. And so you have to be a little bit fast and ready to maneuver your computer so that you can, when it starts, you have timed, that it's on the screen you want to be starting at. It also kind of, the audio kicks in at a strange spot that you can't always tell, so you have to kind of play and listen to the first time, do a few test recordings of 10 seconds and see when you should start talking. I figure it's better to have a little bit of silence at the beginning than to be cutting yourself off. Hopefully I didn't cut myself off on this one, or that it wasn't awkward silence for a few seconds while you sat there and wondered what I was doing. So that's the trick on that one. The other thing about setting the stage is again, I'm talking about when I'm doing screenshots, screen recordings, and not necessarily in-person ones. But even then, I think I would want to have some sort of screen at the beginning that sets the stage for what it is I'm learning. So I always want to switch over to a slideshow as quickly as possible and have that be my first intro screen. I even go further than that, and again, this is more techie, but I'll hit the button to take a picture of the screen, and I'll capture that, and I can put that into my video later as the first thing that people see, so I know that when they go and look at the video, like thumbnails, when they're ready to play the video, that they get a nice clear image of the video that they're going to see, so they know what it's about right from the first screenshot. So I like to do that. So those are my things about making sure you get a good stage setup, and again, like a good title, so you don't just jump right into stuff all over your screen, but that people kind of see this is what the video's about first. And now I have to, since I've been playing around, I better get back to this. The last thing is, where do you store your stuff? Where do you make this available for students? There's two main options that I'm aware of. I mean, you could even maybe email them to students, but there's two ways to do it. You could upload these files. It's going to save a file on your computer when you're done making a recording. And again, watch my how-to videos for more about that. But you can put that on Google Drive. If you put it on Google Drive, you can share it with people in your class, like type in their email addresses and share it with them, and then they can see it, and the rest of the world can't, which is great. You also might want to think about putting it on YouTube. I've started doing that for two reasons. One, because it like has this channel that you can see all the different things about it, and it can record. Google Drive does some of this, but it records things like how many views you have. Theoretically, you could have some comments, which as long as they're good, or you can delete them. But you have some options on that. But my favorite thing about YouTube that I'll leave you with as this last thought is that it can do automatic captioning, and that way you can actually have people turn on the captions and read what you're saying. It's not perfect, and if I talk too fast, it's definitely worse, which I've probably done in this one. But it captions them, and I find that's really helpful for our ESL students and just for students who might be watching this in a place where they don't have access to headphones. The fact that YouTube does that automatically, and you can say, I want captions in English or other languages, is a really nice way to be able to handle some of the logistics that come with the students when they want to watch the videos. Don't know if they can do this on Google Drive on YouTube. Some students speed up the videos as well, so they watch it at like 2 times speed, which with captioning they can read and keep up with it, or they can, yeah, where they can like skip around and stuff like that. Of course, you can do that in Google Drive too. So those are my thoughts. That's all I had. But those are my thoughts on things I've done wrong and could do better. And I hope that was useful to some of you. And again, if you want to know actually how to do this or the steps involved in doing both the creating and the uploading, I'll have videos on those as well.